Welcome to the High and Empowered Podcast or Potcast, whatever you want to call it. So, welcome to our virtual digital smoke session. This is your time, your hour and a half to smoke with the show, talk with the show, discuss, ask questions, be a part of the energy and the magic. Now, tonight, as you see, it's dark behind me. This evening's show, I'm pre-recording. So normally I go live on LinkedIn and Facebook and YouTube at noon. I go live at noon and then it's rebroadcast. And it also goes live on Twitch and a few other channels. But this evening or this time, this show is not able to be filmed the normal time I'm doing it because, well, life gets in the way. Things get busy. And this week is an exciting week. This week, there's so much going on. The excitement is bubbling, but in that, it leads into tonight's show. I'm going to say tonight because it's nighttime, today's show. Today, we're talking about fear. We're talking about the definition of what fear is, the types of fear. There's different types of fear. You know, the role fear plays in human evolution and survival. How fear of the unknown can paralyze us. Fear can change us. Fear shapes us. You know, like fear of the unknown, examples of common unknowns that cause fear, like new jobs, moving, new places, being stuck in an uncontrollable environment. I really think fear in the workplace is a big one, especially when you're starting a new job. You're worried about how your performance is going to impact the larger picture. But anyways, fear in the workplace, fear of failure, fear of valuing ourselves. This one's actually enormous because we don't value ourselves. We have fear of understanding our self-worth and importance. The impact of our low self-esteem on our personal and professional life. It's huge. Fear controls us in so many different ways. The point really of today's show, we're not just talking about fear. We're not just talking about what causes fear. We want to talk about overcoming fear. This is the High and Empowered Podcast. We want to empower you. We want to give you the insight, the foresight, the energy, the ability to overcome fear. Fear is what holds us back. Fear is what doesn't allow us, again, to value ourselves, to self-compassion, affirmation, seeking supportive relationships. We don't out of fear. Out of fear, we don't talk to the people we want to talk to or say the things that need to be said. We don't take the fearful actions because, again, we're afraid of the outcome. We're afraid of how it's going to turn out. Forget the outcome. Just take the chance. Do the fearful thing. So, fear of bullies. Growing up, that was a big one for me. Fear of bullies. I mean, it's the psychological and emotional effects of bullying that shape you. But when I said fear shapes you, fear shapes your mind, your body, your soul. I grew up bullied, multiple bullies throughout the same day. It was a traumatic experience. And then when I wasn't being physically bullied, I was being mentally bullied. It's a lot. It's a lot. And I think those times for me created my fear. The fear created the person who then started working out, who then started learning how to box and how to fight and how to defend himself. The fear created, I confronted, it's ways to confront your fear, ways to overcome, bullying in school, in work, online. And I did. I went back, but I went back in time. I didn't go back in time. I went back to the people who shaped my early time with fear. And I did take revenge in different ways. Not all of them physical, mental, physical. And I feel worse for it. I feel I feel like a piece of shit. I why couldn't I be strong enough to look beyond my fear and feel like I have to get some sort of revenge, some sort of retribution for what they did to me? And instead, why didn't I just walk away? Why didn't I just blow it off and be bigger, be more, be deeper? Because I wasn't deep. All I wanted was retribution. But now is different. Now I don't have fear. So that's when fear is no longer an issue. So life without fear, potential benefits and opportunities that open up for you are incredible. I used to be afraid of the dark. I used to be afraid of what was outside in the dark, lurking around. And then I realized the dark is the same as the light. I just can't see shit. But it's the truth. There's nothing to be afraid of. I just can't see it. I need brighter flashlights. Ah, this is my new bug. I really don't even like donuts. That's actually not true. There's a place here in Florida, actually in Tallahassee, it's Florida, in Tallahassee, I think called Donut King. And they are the king of donuts. Wow, it's like the kingdom of good donuts. Just incredible stuff. Anyways, but that's the thing. Fear shapes us, creates us. And when fear is no longer an issue, when it's no longer a thought, when it's no longer a forethought, when it's no longer pre-planned into what you're doing, fear is gone. You change as a person. You change when you look at people. You see beyond the facade that they put up, the mask that they put on. Personal empowerment and fulfillment happens when you drop fear from your life. I'm not afraid to talk to anybody in any way ever again. I'm not afraid of myself. I'm not afraid of opportunity. I'm not afraid of change. I'm not afraid of pain or depression or bad times, being down on my luck or broke as a joke. Whatever you want, I'm not afraid. And in that, I'm able to handle life differently. I'm able to approach life, I think, differently. Now, do I say that? Okay, I say that, but I'm still afraid. I say that I'm approaching life with no fear, but I'm still afraid. I'm afraid not necessarily for me, I'm afraid for others. I'm afraid how they may feel. Maybe I'm afraid how I might feel about things emotionally, physically. My fear is more emotional. My fear is the fear of dying alone. My fear is the fear of dying. My fear is nobody to love me. You know, uh, yeah, that's my fear. That's my biggest fear. It's dying alone, being alone. You know, I mean, we all have these fears. My fear is I can't be a good provider, or my fear is that I'm not open enough or emotional enough. I'm too stoic. I I absorb tough times and tough information way too easily. I maybe I'm not as emotional as I need to be. I'm afraid. I'm afraid people won't accept me. I'm afraid that once I stop being funny, once I stop being interesting, then my fear is I just won't be wanted. I won't be needed. We all have crazy fear, but it's us. It's us that brings that fear. It's us that creates that fear. I'm I'm just like everybody else. I want people to see me for who I really am, not for the facade on social media, not for the image that's created for me by people in their own head on social media. I'm afraid. I'm afraid that I can't be real. I'm afraid that I can't be authentic. I'm afraid how life will change once I take steps that need to be taken in my life, or I take chances, or I move forward emotionally. I'm afraid for others. I'm afraid how I'm changing and how it affects other people. It's the shift in perspective and mindset. And life changes, confidence increases when you drop fear. But for me, it's temporal. I mean, I can drop fear of life. I drop fear of pain. I drop fear of emotional discomfort. I drop my fear of moving forward in my life. I drop all those fears. But emotionally, I am 100% vulnerable. Relationshiply, emotionally, I am. I don't even know I don't know where I am anymore. I'm still trying to learn now who I am again. And I'm afraid. I'm afraid I'm not going to figure it out. I'm afraid I'm just going to keep running circles asking the same stupid questions. I mean, I'm encouraging you to help overcome your own fear. And here I am saying, I'm not afraid, but I am. I'm just as afraid as you are. We're all afraid. Just admit it. That's the number one step. The number one step is to admit we are afraid. That's the first step in overcoming fear. That's the first step in becoming the real you, is admitting that, yes, I'm afraid of the dark. Yes, I'm afraid of animals running around out there that could bite me. Yes, I'm afraid of murderers and killers and rapists. Yes, I'm afraid for my daughters, and I'm afraid for my sons. I'm afraid when they drive. I'm afraid when they ride in the dark on their bikes. I'm afraid. I'm afraid of growing old. I mean, shit, this has been like 10 minutes of me just saying I'm afraid now. When I said I wasn't, and I am, because I am. And I have to overcome my silly fear just like you do, because we create it. We form that fear. We are the architects of our own fear. So tonight, we're going to talk about fear. And of course, I'm going to throw in a little talk about cannabis as well. I'm going to talk about maybe how cannabis can increase fear, increase anxiety, and in some cases, it can take it away. In some cases, cannabis removes fear entirely. So what I wanted to do really quickly, while we're just getting through this talk of fear, I don't want to neglect my smoking. Welcome to the High and Empowered Show, where today we're talking about fear. We're talking about being afraid of the dark, afraid of jobs, afraid of ourselves, afraid of loving ourselves, appreciating ourselves, afraid of self-worth. So we're going to talk about all these different types of fear. And right now I'm warming up my Puffco proxy because I have something in here where I want to clean it out. So I just warmed it up and I grabbed a ear thingy. What is, this is ridiculous. It's a ear pick. No. Oh my gosh. Wait. It doesn't matter. You know what it is. You're looking at it. It's a cotton swab. Wow. My brain just went la la for a moment. So I'm taking this cotton swab and I'm going to rub it around the top part and the inside to clean out. Look at that. I'm going to clean out whatever's inside there so I could put something fresh. This is actually, I put something very little in there earlier, and I had a couple great sessions from it. Very small. I'll show you tonight how much I put in. But the easy way to clean this, there's more to it, but the easy way to clean it is a cotton swab. And by using that cotton swab, look how clean the inside of the Puffco Proxy got. That's what I love about it. I can use other concentrate devices, And like the seahorse, I do like the seahorse. That's pretty neat. It takes a few moments to clean, and you got to go through multiple different, heating elements. But this done, clean, no mess, no fuss, and that's simple. And I'm going to turn around and repack it with something absolutely delicious. Mm, some batter. That's what I like. Some batter. What is it? I don't even know what it is. I mean, I can see it. No, I can't. I can't see anything. All right, you know something? We're just going to smoke it. It is some live rosin batter. Just some beautiful, beautiful. Let me just take a little bit there. Now I put mine in the freezer so that it's nice and cold. You see how much I'm taking? It's not very much on there. It's just smeared. So I'm just kind of dropping it into the. Oh, it must have gotten warm because it is being just a little bit difficult with me. So I'm using my little uh, dab device that happens to sit on my key ring. Very convenient. And this stuff looks great. It's very clean. So, anyways, right now, for those of you that can't see what I'm doing, I'm loading my Puffco Proxy with some live rosin batter that came from Goldflower. Yes, I've been smoking some Goldflower lately, and let me tell you, their shit is fantastic. I've been down south, which has given me the availability to go shop at Goldflower, which is located down south. They've got a place in Ocala now, which is I'm so excited. Their grand opening is this weekend, Saturday. Um, why am I excited? Because it's closer. I'm doing a little brand partnership with them, but they're going to have a Meet the Growers. So live Saturday at their grand opening in Ocala, Goldflower has Meet the Growers. To me, that's huge. You get to meet the people growing, the scientists, the creators behind your cannabis. I think that's one of the most important things is to know your cannabis, know your growers, know your weed, know what they're doing, and the things that they're putting into your cannabis, the know-how, the science. I think that's look, I like to know about living soil. And they're doing everything I believe with living soil. And they're all organic. And they're hand trimming. So I want to know how they're curing. I want to know how they're drying. I want to know all those little details that get me so incredibly excited about my cannabis. So by the way, I just loaded a little bit of live rosin batter into the Puffco Proxy. I close the top and the button over here, I go 1, 2, pressed it twice. See that turns on. I know I talk about the Proxy a lot, but I love this because of the ease of use. There's a lot of people getting to my age that don't want to do dabs, don't want to do this high heat thing, don't want to do these big glass rigs. They want to do something simple, something easy. Drop a little bit of concentrate in there, hit the button twice, boom, boom, ready to rock and roll. By the way, again, I am not at all sponsored by Puffco, but I am throwing it out there, Puffco. It would be nice of you. Oh, it buzzed. So remember, tonight we're talking about fear. Just throwing it back out there. And we're just talking. Look, tonight or today, we're getting together to smoke. Smoke with me if you have it. If you don't, eat some edibles or maybe do a little bit of rosin. Maybe make some tea. That'll be nice. I know I talk about making tea a lot, and I love it, especially when you're using good raw cannabis. But it's really delicious. That is really nice. That is smooth. That was lovely. Just clear out the chamber a little bit. And that's some live rosin batter. Simple, easy to do. Okay, let's get back into the conversation. Oh, also, wait. I know. And again, for those of you who can't see right now, I'm opening up a fresh package, an 8 of G8s. Now, do want to mention, I know I really don't do prices, but this was the most cost-effective 8 that I have bought. I mean, they had more expensive ones, and I did. I bought more expensive ones as well, but I bought this one. It was $15. You can't go wrong. $15 4 1/8, because medication is expensive. Inflation is affecting all of us. So affordable cannabis is a big deal. Look, we talked about loyalty last week. Last week, we talked about loyalty. We talked about referral. We talked about how cannabis companies, big MSOs, can give back, to their clientele. They can give back in loyalty, in referrals. And so that to me is a big deal, because we need all the help we can get. So we're talking about fear. And my fear right now is I can't open up this container. I ripped it wrong. And now my fear is I'm going to lose my high as I'm trying to break into this packet. Hold on. I'm looking around for scissors. I have no scissors. What is going on around here? Wait, this is, now I'm looking around for scissors. I'm looking around for anything I can to get into this package, because, okay, we're just going to talk. I'm just going, oh, wait, I think I got into it. I'm just going to keep trying to rip into this thing. I'm definitely going to have to change it to another container. And by the way, whenever you get your cannabis in packages like this, which are sealable, great packages, but a lot of times we don't seal them back correctly. We don't seal them back the full way. So air is going to get in there. It's going to dry out your bud. You don't want that. So you want to move it to a glass jar. Glass is nice. You're not going to, they close well. I usually use a mason jar, and I throw a Bovita pack or an Integra pack into those things. And it's okay. I finally opened it. I ripped into the container. Have I? Is it actually open? Oh, smells pretty good. I was smoking roll-ups earlier, and it tasted so fruity, so lovely. Oh, wow. What am I pulling out here? Holy free holy. Look at this giant, beautiful bud. Let's get that right up to the camera. Look at that. Right on the package. Just rip. Look. I tore the package like some savage. I tore into the package like a savage. And I pulled out this gorgeous, gigantic bud. Wow, that's G8. That's a 15. Look, and there's more. It's not the only thing in there. I mean, it's an eighth of cannabis. So, but the first thing I pulled out was this enormous, beautiful bud. That's what I'm talking about. You go right in, and there's a little bit more, but really, that's it. It's this and this giant, gorgeous bud. I'm excited about that. That makes me very happy. Makes me very happy because it shows me that is hand trimmed. It's crystally. It's beautiful. It shows me they care. They're not breaking up my big, beautiful buds. They're not rolling on a rolling table. That's a big deal. When a company is rolling your bud, they're taking those trichomes, they're using them in other products. They're making a bubble hash, quite possibly. They're using the trim. They're using all these little goodies that you're not getting. And honestly, I wish I could get a hold of the sugar leaves. I wish I could get a hold of trimmings, because I love making my tea and eating raw cannabis with those trimmings. Anyways, moving back to fear. So what is it about fear that holds us back? What is it where the fear shapes us and it stays with us? So let's talk about that fear. Let's look at it realistically. So what is it? Is it physical? Is fear physical? So fear is experienced in your mind, and it triggers incredibly strong physical reactions in your body. So creating it, you recognize it. There's certain organs in your body that recognize fear. So it is physical, or it has physical representation. It has physical manifestation. It becomes physical. It's in your mind, but you are creating. So this is where I say you manifest your life. You manifest your day. You manifest your future. As you create, as you manifest, it becomes physical. It becomes physical and part of you. Let me see if I can close. All these bugs are flying in now. Hold on a second. Let me just grab right here. Okay. There we go. I'm back. Okay. Here I am. Door swung open on its own. I feel like there's ghosts in here. And all of a sudden, all these bugs came flying in. So, and then see, look, now I'm afraid of some shit outside. I'm afraid of a ghost. One of my kids ran by the windows a second ago, freaked me out. I didn't want to say anything. I'm like, but no, I saw him. He was waving as he ran. But fear can overtake us. Fear can make us feel like it's something else. That's the thing. It shapes our mind. It puts pictures in our head. That's fear. Fear creates stories, makes you feel less of an individual because you're questioning yourself. You're putting fear into yourself. It's one of the things where I say, look, I every single day have to fight fear. Every single day, I consider my fear, my depression very closely related because they both hold me back. And I have to remind myself through my positive affirmation, through my enthusiasm for life, that I'm better than my fear. I'm bigger than my fear. So fear is physical, I guess. Fear can fog your mind. It makes parts of your brain rev up, and it makes other parts of your brain shut down, like fight or flight. And fear makes you run. It shuts down all reasoning and just run for dear life, run for safety. So it shuts down. It shuts down your cerebral cortex. It Other parts of your body become impaired. Sometimes you can't run. Sometimes you freeze up completely, and that's it. That's what fear is doing to you. It controls you. It becomes physical. Our creation of fear, our manifestation of fear, becomes physical fear. And so, we're not able to rationalize. We're not able to think. But here's where fear becomes interesting. Uh, so fear can become a pleasure. People want to be afraid. People love to be afraid. This is something I don't mind talking about for a moment. Because I've seen, look, people love going to haunted houses. They love going to frightening events, scary movies. Shit, there's entire genres and clubs and organizations that revolve around fear, revolve around being scared, scaring others and scaring themselves. It's, like roller coasters, haunted house, horror movies. We love getting caught up in fear. We love being afraid. And when I said it's exciting, it's sexual. People get sexually excited by fear. They say if you're going on a date and you want things to get a little more heated later on, make sure your date gets scared. Make sure you get a little scared. It's going to rev you up, get you excited, get both of you excited. Fear, like go watch a horror movie. That'll get everybody excited. I mean, it's I guess it helps conjure different feelings and emotions in us that on our own we cannot produce. But fear and its immediate overtaking of one's mind and body. So I think it's the thrill of fear for some. That's another one. They actually say fear is not a phobia. So fear itself is not a phobia. It's all the other things that are phobias, like spiders and clowns with big knives and shots and snakes. Those are all phobias. But fear itself is not a phobia. And also another thing, fear helps keep you safe. So fear is your ingrained natural biological conditioning and experience through life that helps guide us. Fear lets us know shit's going on somewhere and don't get involved in it. Fear lets us know don't go into the room. Fear is when we're watching a movie and we're like, don't go in there. You're afraid. They should be afraid. But it's a movie, so they're not really afraid. It's bullshit. That's fear. Fear is so many different things. And so I think when we say fear, like the definition in the dictionary is it's an unpleasant emotion caused by the belief that someone or something is dangerous, likely to cause pain or threat or death. Fear of the unknown. So when you tell yourself you know what's going on. When you tell yourself that the dark is the same as the light, because I stand in this one spot and I look out, and during the day, I'm not afraid. So at night, I come and stand in the same spot, and I feel it. Chills will run down my spine, and I won't say anything. I'll just sit there and watch. I'll let my eyes, get used to the dark, and I'm still afraid. I mean, I'll walk in the dark with no light. I'll, I'll creep around the land here and look for bunnies or traps, or there's a lot of things you said over here. Um, I do it in the dark, so to see if what's coming around. Look for eyes. That scares me. If I see a set of eyes, which I have, and so okay, all right, we're not going to talk about. Maybe we will. Maybe we will. I'll tell you about what makes me afraid. Here on the land, there is some crazy shit, and I'll let you know about it. Look, we're talking about fear. Maybe for a couple of minutes, in just a moment, I will tell you some of the real experiences that have happened to me, that have happened to Angie here on the land, that have happened to the kids. So it's a true to life horror story here, sort of. I mean, nobody's gotten injured, nobody's died. At least we don't know. Well, there is a dead guy, that walks his dog and whistles and sings or whistles down by the pond. But I only heard the whistling. I didn't see him. Somebody else told me, if you see this guy walking a dog, run. Why? Because he's dead. But why would I run? I want to know why he's walking his dog and he's dead. That means the dog would be dead too, or the energy of the two of them are just still there, and it's just resonating from the crystals in the ground or the water in the air. I don't know. But it's fear that controls us. I'm going to try a little bit of this G8. Since I worked so hard to get into this container, I'm going to try some. I mean, before I even smoke it, it smells pretty good. The colors are nice. It's got a nice little sticky stick to it. That's a big bud. Look at that. I like that. I like that a lot. All right, here we go. Let's smoke that a little bit. Let's get over a little more of my fear, because I heard something growling just a moment ago, like right over there. Just look, when I tell you I'm afraid, I'm perpetually afraid. We all are. There was this movie that I'm watching with my daughter, Orion in the Dark, or Orion and the Dark, or Afraid of the Dark, or whatever it is. And Orion, he's afraid of everything. Everything. Everything in his life makes him afraid. And so he's not living. And for most of us, we are afraid. We're afraid to live. We're afraid to experience life. We're afraid to have pleasure and pain. And we're afraid to like something. We're afraid not to like it. We're afraid to experience, period. I don't know why. I don't know what directly holds us back. I don't know what creates that veil of fear that surrounds us and shapes us. Like walking in the dark or hearing sounds and thinking it's something else. The day and the night are identical. They're just, I trip on things much more if I don't have a flashlight at night. But the sounds, if you listen during the day, they're much the same. But at night, there's less traffic. There's less city noise. There's less happenings going on. So the sounds of the bugs and the plants, singing and talking and becoming and being are just so much louder. I love coming out at night and doing a bonfire and just sitting there and watching the fire until it burns out. And I don't think fear. I don't think anything. I just kind of meditate watching the fire, being part of the night, part of the evening, part of the energy that's all around me. So tonight, I also want to talk about overcoming fear and ways that we can become less fearful, ways that we can be stronger as ourselves. We don't have to search elsewhere. We search within ourselves to overcome fear. I mean, look, take time out, think clearly, take a deep breath. When you're scared and shit's going down, do nothing, but take a deep breath, hold it in just for a moment, and let it out. In that time, you're relaxing, you're thinking, you're assimilating, you're taking in the scenario around you. I do this for many different things. I don't just do this for my approach on something fearful. I do this in most things where I need to have a decision. I take a deep breath. I think about it. Just in that deep breath, I assimilate it a few seconds more. So maybe my decision is a little different. Maybe it's a little better. You know, so breathing through panic. If you're panicked, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Count out as you're exhaling to 10. Softly inhale. 1. Mostly it's exhaling. I can't do it while I inhale, but inhale softly or fully, and then exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Something as simple as breathing in and counting it out calms the body, calms the mind, and lets you think rationally, even in the most panicked of situations. Now, I'm not saying somebody breaks into your house and you're hiding under the bed and you're counting 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Yep, I found you. Don't count out loud and don't breathe loudly. Maybe just breathe shallow until you, or grab a bat and attack her. In a situation like that, I don't know what I would even do. I mean, I've been in some pretty rough situations and I have attacked them head on. I have chased and ran after. But don't do that necessarily. I was stupid. I could have died. Why did I have no fear in that situation? Because I was doing it to protect. I was doing it to save and help others without the fear, because I was doing it to be a protector. I wasn't thinking for myself. It was fear. It was fear. It was fear that motivated me. It was fear that pushed me. It was fear of the harm to others that made me jump to action. Would I do it if I were alone? Maybe no. Maybe no. But I think facing your fears is the number one step. I mean, if you put steps out of how do you overcome fear, well, I like keeping shit simple. Face it head on. Walk right into your fear. Don't hide from it. Now, what does that mean exactly? Does that mean you want to ask for a raise? Then go ask for a raise. Go through the proper channels. Write a really good email. State your case. Don't be afraid. Value yourself. Know that you are amazing. You are strong. You are creative. You are a powerhouse. So by doing that, you're valuing yourself. That was a bun. You're valuing yourself. You're not being afraid. You are knowing that you are good enough and you've done great service, excellent time you've given. Know your worth. Don't be afraid. Face your fears. You hear some shit outside, grab a bat and you go outside, or a big machete, or if you have a gun, a shotgun or something like that, have it handy, because sometimes shit out there can be pretty. Okay, so you want to know. All right, so this leads me in. Let me lead in and tell you about the land a little bit. So I live on almost 7 acres. And I have my house, which is about, it's a trailer. It's not a house. It's a trailer that I'm renovating. And I'm going to make it look really cool one day as an earth ship. So I'm going to attach to it. We're going to dig underground. We're going to do just a bunch of really neat things. And I'm going to kind of create like this really awesome Spanish hacienda. Me and Ange are going to create a paradisos here, a paradise of plants, a garden of edible and non-edible, of butterflies and hummingbirds and earthship and whatever. This is the dream. That's what I want. I love creating on the land. And so in perpetuity. I want a place that my kids can develop their love of nature and can meditate, can be alone or be with others, can throw parties or adventures or foraging parties. Uh, my wife and my daughter were out here foraging with her friends for blackberries the other day. How awesome. So, anyways, here on the land, I live in like almost 7 acres. And so we're renovating and living in the trailer down there, but used to have my RV over this way. So about 2 acres that way, sitting between two little itsy bitsy ponds or three, and sitting all the way over here, close, not really close, at least an acre from other properties. So we can't see really any of our neighbors. And at night, we'd start hearing all these just wild sounds, like growls and grunting. And of course, we don't go out at night. We wouldn't leave the RV. I mean, while we were still building and doing things around the land, we wouldn't leave the RV. But you'd hear things early morning when the fog was just super thick. I heard somebody calling me, like calling me to come outside. Look, I'm getting chills now. It's some crazy shit. And I was like, and I'm looking around the RV. I checked everybody's inside the RV. And because it was a big 45-foot fifth wheel. So my daughter lived at one end, the boys were sleeping in the middle. Me and the wife would be sleeping on the very top end, and the baby in the bed there with the crib we'd set up in the front. But I heard somebody calling my name, telling me come outside. And so I did not go outside. I looked out and I could see like a shadow of something there, a dark shadow of something just staring deep into my soul. It was like, oh, look, I'm looking out the window now in like the general area, and I'm like a little scared. That's fear. I could feel it. Look, I don't even see goosey bumps on my arm, but my hair is standing up. Fear. Fear controls you. Fear shapes you. It's shaping me now. It's now making me scared shitless out here at night. But I'm not. But I'm really not, because I'm making myself afraid. So honestly, I'm not afraid. But the story reminds me of shit. And so, but then that's not it. So I've seen, and then over here out the window looking out, I saw a black mast. Looked like, I thought it was a bear. I thought it was like a little baby black bear. But as it was moving, it changed its shape and spread out almost like a sheet, like a big thick blanket. It was moving like this. And I'm just like, what am I looking at? What is this? And it was a decent distance, but not far enough where I couldn't make shit out. And then it goes behind like a busheled area and disappears or wisps away. So the land that I'm living on here has, we believe, we don't know, we're pretty sure though, numerous Indian burial mounds. It has bent trees that point to water or water areas. And I know that, I think the legend was that Indian scouts would sit on the trees and carve their Indian heads. And so underneath these bent trees, to know that they are the real deal, you look for old, spent, broken Indian heads that never made it. But we have found, and so we have found ancient, we believe, Indian artifacts here. These things that look like coals. It looks like a coal that you would put in a barbecue, but it's not. It was like either a game that they played, because we found a few of them, and we asked a friend that knew something, and they're like, no, that's not coal. That's an ancient Indian game or money or something that they were using in some kind of monetary way for winnings. This land has a history all around us. There were multiple different Indian tribes that were living out here, working, and then the Spaniards came. This is the story I heard. Now I know it varies a bit, but in this story, So when the Spanish came, the Indians saw this and they said, okay, we can't have this. We got to get rid of them. So they started talking like this, and the other people that that were working for the Spanish but knew the Indian language let the Spaniards know this. So the Indians said, please come to this big dinner. We want to feed you and celebrate you. So the general or whoever it was, they came with a portion of their army, and the Indians thought they were going to be, setting them up on an ambush. But instead, the Spaniard army was setting the Indians up on an ambush, and they were set up all around, surrounding them. And they were already moving in, burning some of the villages. They came into this village where everybody was, and it was just an incredible massacre. And the massacre that ensued across the lands here, it was a bloodbath of the Indians. But again, they were the ones setting up the massacre. But it doesn't make it any right. It doesn't make it right. And I'm sure not all of the tribes were doing this. I mean, their fear of the Spaniards made them take actions. You like how I did that? Turned it right around. Their fear made them take actions that ended up in their own demise, ended up in their own death. So anyways, the land here has some very spooky shit. Like I told you earlier, there's a guy who walks his dog around Cooley Pond, whistles. I heard the whistling. There's something that calls you out. So when I looked out the window and I saw that figure that one day, it was calling me out. When I saw that figure in the distance, that wasn't calling me. That was telling me to stay inside the house. Angie has seen things like a wolf, like a dire wolf. She swears it was a dire wolf. And it was, she saw the actual structure of a wolf. It was a wolf. And when, she thought it was maybe a big dog at first or whatever, but she stepped towards it. It stepped towards her. So immediately she stepped back and locked herself in the RV. Looked out there again and it disappeared. My son Gideon has heard things calling him out of the RV. He lives in the RV here. I live in the house over here. My daughter lives in an RV here. I'm renovating another one. I'm renovating this one, which is the 52, but I'm really not renovating anymore. This is my office. This is my podcast room. This is my war room. I don't know what this is going to be. Actually, come a few more months, I am going to start renovating it. I'm going to try to bring it back as close to original as humanly possible. So, that's fear. Remember, it's self-created. Remember that the anxiety that you fear, that you face, is not real. Challenge yourself. Tell yourself that, remind yourself that you're creating that fear. Challenge yourself and go outside, take a few steps, walk around. Try to be natural and easy. Try to drop all fear of your situation. Don't try to be perfect. Don't try to be the hero. Don't try to be amazing right out the bat and run outside and I've got this. I'm not afraid. Dun, 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 dun. Don't try to do everything at one point. If you're working on facing your fear, do it a little bit at a time. A little bit at a time. Small steps create huge ripples in the pond. Small steps, huge ripples. I like this one. So I heard earlier, and I wish I could pull this up. Maybe it was on the Tiki-Taki or the Insta-Cha-Cha. You know how they're just doom scrolling. You're just scrolling now and just seeing everything. And there was a person that was talking about the trick to the law of attraction. And the trick was be happy. The trick was be happy for you and others. Be happy naturally inside. Find joy. Find a happy place. When you find your happy place, you are opening up your chakras to the law of attraction. And you attract emotional, physical things to your life. You attract opportunity. You attract good vibe and good energy by opening up your chakras to the law of attraction. And so earlier, when I was listening to this guy was talking about finding your happy place when you're scared, when fear is taking over your body. Take a moment. Oh, I don't know what the fuck I'm doing right now. I'm like, oh, I don't know what the fuck that is. I know what that is. It's one of the sacred frequencies or something. There's I don't know. I don't even know how to do them right now. My brain's not working like that. But it's true. And if you do that after a period of time, the frequency helps change your brain and it helps calm you. But the same thing with visualizing a happy place. So just meditate, take a moment, think of happy shit, think of happier times. I just thought of a very happy time today. Um, I probably even talked about it before. Me and my daughter mow the grass on our new riding mower. I mean, it's not new; it's new to us. And today she wakes up first thing this morning, and she looks at me. You know, she comes and finds me. She's like, "Dad." I mean, her eyes are not even completely open. She's just looking at me. She's like, "Dad, we need to go cut some grass." She's like, "Come on, let's go adventure." Because we're not always cutting grass. We're creating new paths here on the land, on the 7 acres that we can go adventure through. And she's awesome. And she's been great. And so today, you know, we were just riding along and I just looked down at her and she's smiling. And she's like, "Dad, it's best day ever. Best day ever." And I thought that was everything. I thought that was like the biggest trophy I've ever received in my life. The biggest gift. Best day ever, Dad. And we're just mowing the yard and we're just spending time together and laughing. And those are the moments, people, you cannot get back. So enjoy them while you can. Be there, be present, be part of it, be all of it. Love every moment that you can. My fear is I'm going to miss these moments. My fear is I'm going to forget about them the older I get. My fear is, you know, I don't know. I don't know what happens as we get older, as we forget, as we become, as we grow, as we whatever. I don't think I'm ever going to forget moments like today. Made me happy from the inside out. And that's what we need more of. We need more happy from the inside out. Just simple things. That's my simple pleasure. That was my happy moment today on the land. You know, that was a special thing. So, anyways, enjoy those moments. And I'm rambling off, but find your happy place. That was my happy place. There's no fear in my life, but I can think happy and joyous thoughts like that. So happy that shit makes me cry. You know, I've become so emotional, maybe overly emotional sometimes in my search for authenticity, for my search for who am I? What am I? Why am I doing things? You know, what is my goal? What is my end goal? What is my reasoning? Like this. This is our smoke session for us to get together, for us to chit chat, for us to talk about fear, about overcoming it, about finding our happy places, about smoking new shit and talking about it. I haven't even said anything about this yet. I was just kind of toking on it. This is the G8. Here on the land, I've seen some crazy things up in the sky. Oh, also, here on the land, just so you know, we are maybe 20 minutes, excuse me, 15 20 minutes from a military base, Air Force base, a really big Air Force base. And occasionally you hear some boom, boom, huge, earth shattering booms. And you never really know exactly what they are. So there's a lot of history in this land. Not just history, there's a lot of Oh, and just to throw it in there, there's a graveyard next door to my house. So there's a main street and a little white church, and I live behind it. But next to the white church, and it's really old, is a graveyard. Look, they are the best neighbors you could ever have. They're quiet. They only creep over the fence occasionally. No, I mean, do I think? And I've seen mists that have formed into something almost, and then kind of dissipated. I've seen figures like hide behind a tree. All like I thought I saw something. I've felt presence. I've felt energy. I got, I've, wow. Does it make me believe in the unknown or in the afterlife? I don't know. Does it make me more afraid? So living next to a cemetery, my whole life I was afraid of cemeteries. I hated cemeteries, and I don't go into this one. I mean, I'm on the outskirts of it. I'll cut the grass on the front area as I come around to the property, but I don't go inside of it. In that, am I afraid of it? No. I'm less afraid now than I've ever been. Can I walk around this land with just a quick flashlight? Absolutely. And I love it. I love it because you never know what's going to jump out. That's fear, though. It could be a little fox. It could be a flipping chupacabra. All right, maybe not a chupacabra, but maybe, I don't know. Shit, Angie thought she saw a dire wolf. If you think you're going to see a dire wolf, a chupacabra is not that far behind. Fuck, Mothman could be here. I'm just telling you, it's things we got to look at. And so find that happy place, whatever it might be. And, like when you can't overcome your fear, talk about it. Talk about it. Talk to your friends. Talk on a podcast. Talk about it. I mean, I know it's uncomfortable, and you admit that you're weak or something, or you're not. You admit that you're not. You're nothing. You're not admitting anything. You're just being open and being you and being authentic. I was always so afraid to talk about my feelings and cry in front of anybody. I was always so afraid to show emotion, and that may have led to the destruction of my emotional relationships. Or maybe it was my fear. I don't know. I shut down emotionally. Previous relationships have set me on a mental course to not get hurt. Previous relationships, and it's my fear of getting hurt again. Even now, 20 years into a relationship, I'm afraid of getting hurt. I'm afraid of getting over hurt. Or how am I going to get over hurt? I mean, fear has shaped me, whether it be the bullies that made me get stronger, made me get smarter, made me get a little more conniving, or at least know what I'm capable of. Let's put that together. I know what I'm capable of. And so in that, I'm more confident in myself, and I've lost that fear. I know what it means to get hurt physically. I've had the shit beat out of me many times, but it's been a long time since I've lost a fight, because I know what getting hurt feels like. And I know how easily it is to pop back from it if you know what it means to get hit. Emotionally, though, I don't get over things. I stay hurt. I carry shit with me. We all are. We're afraid. And it's those emotional roller coasters and jolts to the system that shape you and shape the way you see things. So fear comes in so many different factors. I may have been able to get over physical fear of being hurt or being scared or being chased. I was attacked on this land by so many dogs at one time. 4. It was 4. Tore up my legs. I mean, even years later now, I've got all these little holes all over my legs from the from the bites and the rips. And it was an awful event. And you'd think I'd be afraid of dogs, but I'm not. I've got big dogs. And I still walk down where those dogs were. And I yell over at the dogs and let them know, hey, I'm waiting for you over here. And maybe that's my fear pumping me up with extra endorphins saying, you're not afraid. And they do that shit again. You're ready. I mean, I fought off 4 dogs and I protected my daughter. So my fear was me and my daughter were walking down one of my older daughter, we were walking down one of the pathways, foraging and looking for shit. And all of a sudden these dogs came out. I grabbed her. I said, run. Because they were coming out, they're growling. I don't know what I'm doing. And so I told her to run. And she ran. And I saw these 4 dogs. I'm like, all right, dogs, let's go. Let's do this. Come on. I know you're going to come at me. And they did. And it was a bloody ordeal for me. I luckily came out of that. And I didn't enter in with fear because I was there protecting my daughter. I didn't think fear. It didn't even come to my mind. It wasn't about me. I didn't care what happened to me. Pain, nothing. It wasn't about that. It was about making sure she made it out okay and that she was safe. That's knowing you can overcome fear. And that's you knowing it's all mental. That's you knowing it's not there. You are creating it. I can walk down to where those dogs are right now with no fear. Do I do it? No, I'm smart. I know if any of them get free, we're going to have a fight on our hands. I'm not in the mood for a fight. Yeah. Am I afraid of a fight? No. But these are good pants that I'm wearing, and they destroyed the last pants. But that's it. I mean, I'm tonight we're just kind of chit-chatting about fear. You know some of my fears. I'm afraid. Like, okay, so let's talk about dying. Sure, we're all going to die, and we're all afraid of it because we don't know what is next. We don't know if anything is next. Look, our bodies are like the cars that we drive. We put gas into them. We fuel them. We keep them alive. Our bodies are made of thousands of different organisms, keeping this one structure alive. But what's running that structure? Because when we die, something leaves and the structure dies. It no longer works. Energy cannot be created, nor can it be destroyed. It can be changed. It can be morphed. It can be used and redistributed, but it doesn't disappear. It never disappears. The energy is always perpetually there. So why are we afraid of dying when we know there's got to be something else? Because we don't know. And that's our fear taking over us and creating more stories, creating more thoughts, more questions, more ideas. None of us know what's going to happen. We could just feel. We believe in our religions and we hope our religions tell us where we're going to go, but they're full of shit. They're not going to tell us anything. They're not going to tell us because they don't know. They don't know. They're afraid. They're afraid. And that's what religion is. Religion is control. Religion is control over large amounts of people. And religion is afraid that you will know things. Religion's afraid of your knowledge. Religion's afraid of you educating yourself and learning the reality, learning what religion is, how it was started, why it was started, all these different factions, but they're really just the same. All the stories are very similar. If you look at all these different religions of Adam and Eve, the great floods, they all share very similar stories. Christianity and paganism, so close, because one was created from the other. Old Testament, New Testament. Look, we're afraid. We all need something to believe in. Something so when we wake up tomorrow, we can keep going. We can keep working. We can keep being the magnificent us that we are. I'm afraid. I love life. I love the birds, the bees, the trees. I love the flowers because they sing to me. I love the mushrooms when I eat them. I love the weed because I eat it, I smoke it, I drink it, I bathe in it, I rub it on my body. I love the sound of life, the song of people. I could never imagine missing any of this, any of you, any of tomorrow. It's my joy of life is every day. It's every second. It's every moment. It's every new song that I hear, every new voice that I encounter, every new soul that joins my journey and adventure of life. That's my joy. That's my every single day. I've learned to have such an enthusiasm for life. I don't fear it now. I embrace it. I look forward to it. I That's how. And somebody asked me last week, how do I see the change? How do I see the good? How am I able to start seeing better, more positive, more enthusiastically? You have to stop being afraid of you, afraid of what you're capable of, afraid of tomorrow, afraid of today. We have to drop our fear. We have to work with it and work through it. My love for life was shielded by my depression, was was overcast by all my questions and over questioning and my fear. When I was able to remove fear, I felt like I could breathe for the first time. I wasn't afraid to ask anything or to look people directly in the eye. I look everybody in the eyes. I look into your soul, into your mind, into your energy, not the mask or the person you think you are, but the person you really are. Because I'm not afraid of what you think of me. I'm not afraid of any thought you might have or any action you want towards me. I'm not afraid. I embrace. I'm open to the energy of life, to the energy of people. That's what helps me drop the fear, is my constant embracing, my constant head strong, I'm getting out in front of it. I'm embracing it. I'm being it. I'm becoming it. I'm not letting fear take me over. I am getting in front of fear. I'm becoming the stronger one, the smarter one. But not always. Sometimes fear wins. Sometimes I get scared. Sometimes I start questioning so much. I question life, but I don't want to give up on it ever because it only gets better. Even at the worst of times, it will get better and it will feel better. I've dealt with the hardest of times for the longest of times, and a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel feels good. And it reminds me of things. I go to the butterfly museum and I see which plants I'm bringing here to the property. And when I see them growing here and I see those butterflies here, wow, it's like a part of me is here with them. Like my energy, even long after I'm probably gone. Maybe in the plants or in the tree or in the water. But I don't want to be afraid of life. I want to embrace it. I want to love it. Every second of it, every color, every sound, every emotion, good and bad. So that's me. That's how I see fear. That's just the whole spiel. So all right. I did want to mention Alan Watts. I do love listening to him. Um, he really he's dead, but his words We're deeper than wisdom itself. Sometimes we need to hear things outside of ourselves to understand what's around us, or just to understand reality, or to understand the simplicity of who we are. We're creatures of habit. We don't always learn from our mistakes. We don't always change, but we're given the opportunity to do so, to learn, to become, to teach others. Any teachings I ever say I want to have, I just want you to be you, to live life without fear, live life without the fear of others and their judgment, without live without boundaries. Even those of you in the world of social media, be as authentic as you can be. Don't be afraid of what people think of you. Don't be afraid. Be afraid of what you think of you. What you think of yourself is the biggest thing. We're always looking for somebody else's approval. Look for your own approval. You know right or wrong. You know good and bad. If you wouldn't approve, I'm sure others wouldn't as well. Don't be afraid of what they think of you. That they're living their own lives. They're dealing with their own problems. This is G8. It's smooth. It's not bad. I have to say, all the flour that I've gotten from Gold Flour has been really smooth, like super smooth. I don't really cough. It assimilates well. I feel a nice entourage. I think the G8 was a hybrid leaning indica. Again, everything is hybrid these days. Hybrid indica, hybrid sativa, hybrid. I really feel, I really feel that we'll look at the cannabis thing later. Well, actually, no. Let me quickly talk about cannabis. So, in the world of hybridization, or terminology, and how we understand what strains work for us and what don't, there are two schools of thought. And I'm going to bring this around for fear. Into fear. You'll feel me in a second. So there's one school of thought that wants to talk hybrid sativa indica as a way of learning how to use your cannabis properly. And then there's another school that's like, no, it's the terpenes, the myrcene, the limonene. You must talk about these things that are very important. And they are. Terpenes are amazing. There's been articles where terpenes, they can help cancer patients eat again. Terpenes help activate parts of their brain that deal with pain. Terpenes are important. So when you have a cannabis customer that's never been in cannabis and first gets into cannabis, and you start talking about terpenes, terpene profiles, and how they work in the body, they're going to just look at you. They're going to be confused. It's a lot for them to take in. Normally, when it comes to medication, they get a prescription and they fill that prescription and they don't give a shit what's in it or how it was made. They just take it. So to get your medical consumer interested in the taste and the flavor and the smell, in my experience, it's a harder battle than you think. I like both schools of thought. When a medical patient first comes in and wants to learn something about their medication or what's going to work better for them, we talk indica, hybrid, sativa. Why? Because it's easy. And everything is a hybrid. Hybrid leaning this direction, hybrid leaning that direction. So how does that come into talk? And then where I said it's both schools of thought, once they are learned enough with the indica, hybrid, sativa, now you start also throwing in terpenes and how that shapes their cannabis, how it shapes the direction. Because the reason that's so important is anxiety. Some sativas, I love sativas. I'm a sativa head. Love them. I will smoke them morning, noon, and night. I will eat sativas. I will make tea from sativa. I love THCVs, and which is the extended hydrocarbon that can be used in so many different ways. We'll talk about it another time. But that's the thing. Some sativas can give me anxiety. They make me feel like I'm about to get arrested all the time. They make me antsy and edgy and just not comfortable. Certain terpenes will shape me. Like certain combinations of terpenes will shape me in a certain direction and make me feel anxious, overly anxious, so much so that it gives me anxiety, so much so that I'm now stressed out, so much so that it can cause fear. So if I'm smoking the wrong joint walking around the property, that may not be a very long walk. It might be kind of a short walk due to I am scared shitless. And it's happened. I've been walking the property at night smoking a J, and just all of a sudden, just the sound sounded a little more ominous. I could maybe hear something rustling not too far away, which is not uncommon because there is a one-eyed alligator, crocodile. I don't know, what are they here? It's an alligator. It's an alligator. But I know, okay, different regions of the country, and my brain's not working like that right now for some reason. And I'm gonna be walking back to the property, I'm gonna be thinking about it, crocodile, alligator. It's an alligator. It's an alligator. So there is a one-eyed alligator out here on the property that kind of lives in the marshy area. So if I hear something rustling around, I'm not afraid it's like a murderer or a killer or anything like that. I'm afraid of the fucking alligator. That's good. And I will probably run out of fear because of that. But if I'm smoking something that's just kind of putting my mind at ease, if I'm smoking an indica, there was something I was smoking the other day, white truffle. Okay. That knocked me on my ass. I just made me like, whatever. So if I was walking the property, smoking the indica or the hybrid leaning indica white truffle, which was delicious, and I heard something rustling or sounds that were unfamiliar, I just kind of would have taken them in and kept walking. I think my delayed reaction time would have given me time, just like I said, take a deep breath and count it out. You know, take a moment to think about the situation. We can overcome fear because we create it. Look, I'm always telling you, you create your day, manifest goodness, manifest what you're looking for, be everything you want to be. The trick to the law of attraction, it's find your happy place. If you're happy, happiness finds you, goodness finds you, good vibes come your way. So I really think fear is what we create. And so, and with cannabis, I really think something very, very terpy, maybe very citrusy and lemony with a little bit of myrcene, that combination, it tends to make me, give me a little bit of anxiety. It would maybe make me a little more scared. So fear can be increased by certain cannabis strains. Edibles. Wow. So it depends what edibles I'm eating. Now, if it's an edible made out of pectin, I love it because I'm chewing it in my mouth. By the time I'm done with my mouth, it's already, absorbing and assimilating into my blood, into my body, into my fats. That's what I want. So the medication's working quickly. But I've had edibles where, like gummies, where I've eaten like 3 or 4 or 5, and nothing happened. And I was out camping, probably not the best place to be, and nothing was happening. And I'm sitting there at the fire, and then all of a sudden, I realize everybody's disappeared. They're all gone on different walks, and I'm just sitting there, and I'm freaking out. Fear. It's creating and shaping my experience. The fear was creating more of those type of endorphins. And Now all those edibles that I ate that are now sitting in my stomach because they were gelatinous, they weren't pectin. If they were pectin, this wouldn't have happened to me. But all those 4 or 5 or 6 edibles that were 10 milligrams each, like 60, 70 milligrams, start activating into my bloodstream at one time. Wow, I'm sitting there and I mean, the rush just hits you, and you're just like, no. And you're looking around, and you're like, what is going on? I'm going to go lock myself in my tent. Oh, wow. Because of how it's hitting you and how it's rushing into your system. And you're not able to mentally or physically assimilate it properly. And one thing leads to another. But that's because of the type of gummies that I ate. Maybe that was the environment I was creating. But cannabis can lead because it's amplifying how you feel. It's amplifying. Cannabis is amplifying those emotions. So, of course, if you're already afraid, you're not going to be really less afraid, unless, of course, you're smoking a good indica and then you just don't give a shit. I mean, somebody could break into my house, I'd be smoking an indica. I'll just be sitting there staring at them. There's food in the fridge. There's nobody. There's nothing here. If you could carry the TV, good luck. Maybe I'll help you with it to the car. I really think emotionally or mentally, that's how I react so stoically because of my fear of being hurt. I know I brought that around. I guess that's still bothering me. A lot of things are still bothering me. These smoke sessions that we have together, I try to talk about my life and not at the same time. I'm not important. I mean, my experience is, and whatever lessons that I can give to you are incredibly important. Whatever you could piece together from my insanity, my nonstop talkie for an hour and a half, whatever you could piece together from that. I mean, you know, I was just looking at this really quickly. It was like, what does it mean to be afraid? Your heart beats really fast. It gets irregular. You breathe fast. Your muscles feel weak. You sweat a lot. Your stomach churns and your bowels feel loose. Yeah, no, that's true. No. I get scared. I fart a lot. I'm sorry. That's something about me not a lot of people know. I get scared and I start tooty, tooty, tooty. Tooty, Rudy, 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 tooty, tooty. Tooty, Rudy of a Rudy, tooty. And so you get dizzy. You find it hard to concentrate. You feel frozen in a spot. You can't eat when you're fearful. You've got hot and cold sweats. Your body is having trouble regulating. You get dry mouth. Sounds like when I'm high sometimes. I get cold sweats. I'm hot sometimes. I get dry mouth. My muscles get tense. But that's how it feels. That's what it feels to be afraid. If you've ever wanted to know the signs, those are the signs. Those are the this is what it feels like, physically feels like to be afraid. But usually you're not in any real danger. And it's your internal fear that we create. And what is it we creating? So in that, when I say we create our day, we create our fear. We elevate it into a panic attack. That fear has created the panic attack. And that panic attack is physical. It's mental, it's physical. It overtakes you. And so I think we are creating our PTSD when we could be letting go by understanding our environments, understanding ourselves. I say all these fancy things, but I'm still afraid. Every day I learn to conquer different fear. I learn to conquer different emotional fears. I mean, we all deal with our own nightmares. We all deal with our what scares us, what makes us want to stay indoors, what makes us lock the door, what getting up late at night, what makes us afraid just to walk to the bathroom sometimes if we have to walk down a long hallway. Which okay, really quickly, old house in Houston. I got up from the bedroom and I came out into the hallway. I was going to the kitchen because the ice cream was calling me. I could hear it in the distance. It was like, all right, come on. There's a cold spoon in the freezer. Come on, let's go. It's already ready. Because I put the spoon there for later, just in case the ice cream wanted to talk to me. But anyways, I came out into the hallway and turned out of the bedroom right down the hallway. And as I'm walking, I'm looking up, and there's a bookcase right past the doorway into the living room. Past the doorway of the hallway into the living room, there was a bookcase right there on the left, and there was a book floating right off of the bookcase and just hovering there. Look, I'm getting fucking goosebumps again. I wasn't dreaming. I wasn't sleepwalking. I saw this shit right in front of me. My fear froze me right in that spot. And I just watched that book hover right in front of me. And then, boom, it dropped and hit the ground. Wow. Nothing else happened there. I mean, right that moment. And it's like as soon as that book hit the floor, it released something. It was like, psh, and I just, what was that? What did I just see? What did I just experience? And I continue walking to the kitchen, perplexed, passing the book on the floor, looking at it as I passed it. And what was that? It just didn't click. Immediately, it just did not click. And I passed the book and I stopped and I turned around and picked it up and I put it back on the shelf. I went in and I opened the freezer, looked at the freezer, I closed the freezer, I walked back and I just stood there and looked and wondered what could have made the book slowly come out, hover, clearly hover, and then drop. I couldn't explain it. Could not explain it. When I was younger, the fear of things like this, I saw a multitude of apparitions. When I was traveling with the kids, Gettysburg, they told us you would see things. They said when the fog rolls in, you're going to see ghosts. Look, I believe. I didn't believe and I did. I do and I don't. I do more now, but not in ghosts, in energy, in entities, in multiple dimensions, multiple dimension theory of how we're living. I mean, we're living within a projection of a projection of a projection of a projection. I mean, we're not even the original projection. We could be like the millionth projection of the original blah, blah, blah. But we are living independently from that reality. We are creating our own. The paradox of our lives is magically amazing. It's delicious, magically delicious, but it is. The more you get into it, the more, it sings to you. The frequencies of life, they just sing to you. So we are living within. What was I talking about? I know I was talking about getting high and death and the fear of all that shit. And then my brain went la la. Okay, la la brain. It's late at night. I'm allowed to space out occasionally. I've been smoking and trying different things. And ooh, this is a good time to go back to the Puffco Proxy. Boom, boom. Okay. And I am smoking some live rosin batter from Goldflower. Good stuff. Just very delicious. So remember, I just pressed it twice. Same stuff I put in earlier on the show. I didn't put anything new or special in. Well, it is special. It is. It's very smooth, very clean. It's hash burger. I smoked the flour. The flour and the batter are totally different. This is, I mean, of course, obviously, but there's a different high to this one. There's a different flavor, reminiscent of the flour that I smoked, but it's different. It's its own thing. There were some experiences that I had as a kid that I haven't really gone into detail with you guys, about fear and things like that shaped me as a young child. And I didn't know if that was fear that I was using to cope with situations, or if it was exactly as I felt it or saw it or experienced it. Fear can make us think so many different things. Look, I said that. I don't know if you can hear things. I don't know what that is. That was some creepy shit. I didn't plan. It was like a rumbling, and it started like right over here, and then it creeped right around. Okay, wait, no, I heard maybe some planes. Remember, I told you there's an army base not too far away, or a military uh, air force base. So yeah, that's fear. Fear shapes it. Fear creates it. So you create it. You are manifesting your life, and in that, you are given the opportunity to shape your mood every single day. I just want to say thank you, everyone, for joining me, by the way. Thank you for coming and seeing today's show of High and Empowered, where we're talking about fear. I mean, I don't even think I answered anything. We talked about its physicality. We talked about what is it, how does it feel, what kind of fear is there? I mean, there's physical fear, there's mental fear, there's phobia type fear. Remember, fear is not a phobia, but it's all those things involved around it, like the fear of spiders or clowns. We are creating these things to cope, to sometimes out of excitement. Sometimes fear excites us in many different ways. So, in my authentic journey, I'm letting you know I'm afraid. I'm afraid of death. I'm afraid of dying alone. I'm afraid of being alone. I'm afraid of emotionally crashing and burning. I'm afraid that I'm not going to find who I am or my purpose or my ikigai, my everything. Even when I thought I found it 100 times, even when I thought I found myself 100 different times, even when I thought I found love and life 100 times. It's the fear of starting over. It's the fear of independence. It's the fear of how do I know myself? How can I let others know me? So that's it. I want true friendships and true love and true life and true adventure. I want all of it without fear. Fear is what holds me back from talking to the people that I want to talk to, saying the things that I want to say, right and wrong. It's fear. I'm afraid. I mean, as boisterous as I am, as I'm not afraid of anything as I am, of course I am. Of course you are. We all are. We're all afraid. I mean, it's human nature. It's and as we shift our perspective, as we shift our lives and change who we are and grow in confidence and drop some of the fear in our lives and we start to live, we start to see the real answer. Fear, it's one of those small details. And when we learn that it's a small detail, we can start seeing the big details again. We can start seeing the joy, feeling the joy, remembering the joy, being a part of it without being afraid to live life. We're all we're all going to experience it. Don't regret not one day, not one moment, not one opportunity. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to live. Don't be afraid of life. Sure, be afraid to die. Of course, we don't know what the hell's next. But don't let that hold you back from life. Don't let that hold you back from taking the one chance and the one opportunity. That's what we forget. We forget that we don't take the opportunities because they don't come back around. There's one opportunity, one life. You don't get multiple lives. You don't get to, and maybe you do. Maybe you do. Maybe I'm like totally fucking wrong. Maybe you get multiple lives. You come back as multiple energies, as multiple things in multiple places at multiple times. Okay. I sort of believe that as well. I believe our energy comes back and forth, back and forth. Maybe when it's ready, maybe when it's not. Maybe when it's learned enough, it doesn't. And it joins the collective in an energetic ball of fire. I don't know. But I'm open to whatever comes my way. And in the meantime, I'm not afraid of life. I'm not afraid to live. I'm learning every day. I'm changing a little more every single day. I am showing my emotion to people. I am becoming less stoic in my feelings. If I need to cry, I will cry. If I laugh, I will laugh. I don't care of your judgment. I really care about the person I am. I care. I judge me. I want to be a good person. I want to, not, I don't want somebody else to want me to be. I just want to be. There's no, what do I get back for it? Nothing. Or maybe I do. Maybe you're adding to my happiness. Maybe I'm like an energy vampire. I don't know. I kind of believe I'm an energy vampire. I'll go with that one. I get in a crowd, I'll just feed off the energy, you know. But in that, I don't be afraid. Live life every day. Every single day you get up. You get up and you find your happy place. You get out of bed, and it's not easy. I get out of bed, and that shit is not easy. Someday, this morning, I did not want to get out of bed. Oh, I slept late. Sleeping late is 9 o'clock in the morning. Actually, it was like 8. I'm sorry. It was like 8:30ish. And I had one eye open. I'm just looking. I gotta get up. I gotta get up. I gotta get up. Why do I have to get up? I did not have to get up. But I got up. And so the day begins. Begrudgingly, I started the day. And but I didn't. I stood up. I shook it off. I mean, I wasn't. I was not approaching the day positive. I was like, oh, it's gonna be a day. There's a lot to do. A lot to do. I gotta get on the computer. Gotta get to work. Gotta check emails. Da, 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 da. And then I was like, no, 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 no. I don't need to do any of that. I need to smoke a joint. I need to drink my coffee. I need to game plan my day, my adventure for today. What am I going to adventure? No matter what it is. And it ended up being, me and Zavi mowed the yard and created new pathways down there and widened the areas so that if there is a gator roaming around, we have more visibility. Same with the snakes. There's a lot of snakes this year. We saw like 2 coral snakes less than 2 weeks ago. And since then, it's all about clearing the land around us. It's that time of year. You've got to be careful, at least out here in Florida. So that's something to be fearful of. You do not want a coral snake biting you. Not a good thing. Just going to throw that one out there as well. Anyways, look, I can ramble on forever. It's really not even about fear anymore. It's just about the show. It's about you. It's about me. It's about smoking and a sesh and just hanging out. That's all it is now. High and empowered. I try to bring you things to talk about. Like I try to stay on topic. And it's difficult. It's difficult because in a regular conversation, you don't always stay on topic. The second anybody brings up like aliens or any kind of decent conspiracy theory, anything else that you were talking about goes right out the window. It's the truth. Right out the window. The immediate moment anybody has any decent gossip about anything, that takes precedence. That takes center stage. Even if you don't like tea, you want tea. You want to hear tea. It's about tea. I've been watching too much Bridgerton. My daughter and my wife are watching Bridgerton, and every evening I come in from work, they're watching Bridgerton, and I don't want to be rude and be like, "Give me the remote, please. I must watch something funny with action in it. Something just stupid and funny with action scenes. It doesn't even have to make sense. That's just what I need to decompose. Just humor and action for a few moments." But I don't want to do that because, look, they all work hard, and I don't want to come in and take away the TV. So I sit down and I watch Bridgerton. Uh-huh. So if there's some good tea, I want to hear it. So that then, so immediately any other conversation goes out the window. And that's what these smoke sessions are. These smoke sessions are a little bit of tea. I mean, what's happening here in Florida? I'll tell you what's happening. It has been so hot that I'm doing the podcast at night, which it is so much cooler. This is a night and day temperature difference. During the day, I'm sweating. It's like I'm in a sauna. I cannot survive like that. Very difficult. So this is great, but I'm only doing this because, extenuating circumstances pull me away from being able to do it live this week. But just pretend this is live, and this is afternoon time. Instead, real time is like, I don't know, like 10 o'clock at night, 11 o'clock at night, something like that. So it is getting kind of creepy out here. Usually you do not want to be out here this time at night on the land. You don't want to be out here. Now I'm scared. See? Fear. I've let fear take over, and now I am slightly fearful of this situation. That being said, I now see the time, realizing that I'm coming on another 2-hour podcast session, and I'm just talking to people's ear. I'm just talking now. Now it's just talkie. Now I'm like lost in talk. You're all amazing. I love you all. Have the energy, the foresight, the amazingness, the vibe, the frequency to conquer the world. Do everything that you want to do. Create it, manifest it, be it. That's what you are. Don't be afraid of life. Take it on, head on. Be you. Be the authentic you. Don't have fear of what they think of you, of anybody, because you pass somebody on the street and they look at you, they'll forget you in 15 seconds. That is scientifically stated somewhere. Don't know where, but I heard it. And then if you're loud and crazy, they might remember you for a minute. And they might remember you fleeting thoughts later on. Like, oh, the crazy person earlier. They don't remember what crazy, they just remember crazy or loud person. So don't be afraid of anybody else. They're judging themselves. They're thinking about themselves. They are lost in their own lives. We all are. So in that, but out of others, and just be you. Worry about you. Bring the energy of your goodness out so that it can help affect others. In the rippling in the pond. I guess that's it. I'm Oren. Thank you for being here. This is High and Empowered. Again, for those of you just listening, I appreciate you coming and listen later on as well. And for those of you watching my craziness or whatever, me rambling on in the bunker, blah, 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 I appreciate you. I really do. I do this. I'm doing this for you. I'm doing this for me. I'm doing this for anybody that it can help in any possible way. And even if it doesn't help, maybe it's just a voice for you to listen to. Maybe it's an extra affirmation reminding you how amazing you are, how hard you're working, how well you're doing. Just keep going. Keep going. And don't let fear hold you back. Did you hear that just now? I know you heard that. I know. All right. All right. It's just can't be me. Are you listening? That is like the creepiest thing I think I've ever heard in my entire life. Okay, whatever. I'm stopping this insanity. Have a great night. Have a great day. Have a great month, year, whatever. Will listen to me soon. And if you don't, then have a great everything. But if you do listen to me, then I'll catch you next week as well. All right. Ciao. Arrivederci. Tot svidania. Avita